Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to you. It's a beautiful day. This is Queen Mother on Queen Mother Speaks. Here we are live at 5 every Wednesday, 5 o'clock Kenya time, 2 p.m. Ghana time, 9 a.m. New York time, 6 a.m. California time. I believe it goes to about 3 or 4 a.m. in Hawaii time. Thank you for tuning in. This is Queen Mother Speaks. Greetings to you and to you and to you. This is what we call Wonderful Wednesday. We are in our 4th year here at Queen Mother Speaks. And our theme at this time is simply this: success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. And we know that courage is your secret sauce. And we ask you to always go to your secret sauce, which is also your very own special superpower. I'd like to give shout outs to Solo and Geneva, Sosah, Kathy King, Rosemary Johnson, and Marilyn Lewis, who tunes into the Queen Mother Speak show from Florida. Both Nana and Coach Ra are expected to be in the house today. And so, Nana, let's just find out from you who's in studio today. Nana?
Well, hello. Greetings. Well, hello to our viewing audience. I'm Nana Afua Adezawa the First, also known as Teresa R. Kemp. I'm glad to be with you today. Hello to all of our faithful friends and fans out of Atlanta: Lady Mo, Abimbola, Tina Jones, Ernestine, Marie Powell, High Priestess Seshet, who has already talked to me today. Sass, good to have you out there. Melissa Kemp, Carmen, and Michelle. You can tune in right now. Click on Facebook.com, Queen Mother Speaks. And I want to let you know that the link to my author's page, Teresa R. Kemp, is not connected this morning, but we'll air the show later on this afternoon on that channel. So please hit that like, share, and comment button. Our guests for today are from the Volta region, speaking on flood devastation. So we would also like to give a special tribute to those who are born in the month of November. It is a lot of you out there. So they're now saying it is now the time of Sagittarian, which I really don't keep up with astrology, but I heard that today. So for all of our viewers who are, it's exciting because they're outgoing, they're dynamic. And today we're also getting ready to speak the names of our ancestors during our tribute to our ancestors. I invite you to get relaxed and ready for an awesome show. So we also want to thank all of the people and faithful fans that watch us in Kenya: Maurice, Lucy, Bobby Paul, Chantel, Tali in Israel, Haverly, Prince, the Reverend Virginia, Pastor Michael, Flora Giles from Birmingham. So stay safe. Gosh, there is something here on the rise. It is affecting many people. So we want to encourage you to wash your hands, keep yourself safe, and be alert. And wear a mask. If you have a cough or cold or sinus infection, wear a mask. Use Lysol or any type of disinfectant wipes. Wipe down everything in your house, your car keys, the remote control, doorknobs. But we thank you for tuning in this morning to Queen Mother Speaks, a safe place for information, inspiration, and expression. Bunga Dada Bunga, another platform for women's voices, is here. Catch them every Thursday at 7. We're going to be bringing that back to you, and we cannot wait. So also we want to thank you for tuning in. The Honorable Margaret Tolley, Rose, Anju, Jay, Rose, Okala, Maurice, and Estelle from Kenya.
Yes.
So go ahead, Queen Mother, but should we let them know about Queen Mother Speaks being a wealthy platform for conversations that matter?
Absolutely.
insight to
Absolutely.
raise awareness, to inform, inspire, ignite, involve, enlighten, educate, and laugh.
Oh,
And
yeah.
updates on expatriating to Africa, words of newsworthy events, wisdom from the elders, warm, witty dialogue. But also, this show is about if you want to come to Africa on a tour, if you want to come to Africa because you want to be educated in Africa and immersed in the African culture, or if you've recently found out where your roots are from, we encourage you to go to Africa and visit. And we try to give you information on making this trip. Dash, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nana. So she's just told you what Queen Mother Speaks is. And it's interesting. When we started Queen Mother Speaks 4 years ago, we came up with that as our description. And I
Yes.
want you to know that it's still right on the money today.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for all of those wonderful thinkers who help us to put together what is Queen Mother Speaks. So today, as we go into our meditation and our breathing, we're going to incorporate our breathing today into our tributes. Instead of the normal reading of the scripture and the daily thoughts, we're going to give a tribute today. Why? Because we have a lot of people who were
Mm-hmm.
born in the month of November in my immediate family. And so I think it's only appropriate that we take out this time to honor them. And by the same token, what
Definitely.
we can also do is you can give us the names of, when we finish with the ancestors, we can then call out the names of those who are still alive that they have birthdays in this month of November. Okay. November is also the month of release. Okay. We focus our attention on the spiritual faculty of renunciation in the month of November. Renunciation or elimination. That's about the power to let go. And that's letting go in many areas of your life. Okay. Many areas of your life. So right now, we're just going to go into our actual tribute. Okay. Let's see here now. And for our actual tribute, I'm actually honoring those who are immediate family members, starting with my own mother, Mrs. Well, first, let me start with my father, the Reverend Floyd King. The Reverend Floyd King, who would have been 110 years old this November 10th. So, happy birthday to you, Daddy. We want to say happy birthday to our mother, Mrs. Eugenia Miller King, who would have been 100 years old this month. Well, is 100 years old. Mom, do rest in peace. Then we have our elder brother, uh, Floyd Jr. King. We have our next brother, Jesse Parnell Miller King.
Yes.
We have our next brother, Melvin Leroy King. And we have our sister, Gwen Princess Empress Akweke. All those family members are born in the month of November, and all of those family members um, have become ancestors. So we wanted to take a moment and give a tribute to them. And I just want to give one story, just one story about my family growing up in Birmingham. So since we're still in the month of Thanksgiving, let's talk about what would happen at the King family house on a Thanksgiving morning, as I can remember from a little girl. So we were living in a place called Birmingham, Alabama. The specific community was called Powderly. And I remember us living in a house up on a hill. And when Thanksgiving would come, ooh, there would be so much noisy busyness going on in the house. On Thanksgiving morning, you could get up and I noticed the windows would already be sweating because mom was already up cooking from way early in the morning, preparing her meal for her family for that day. Somewhere around maybe 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, the men and the boys would go over to the Baptist College. At the Baptist College, they would engage in a game called football. And it appeared for me that every man had to be up at Baptist College for the football. I would go because my brothers were going and I'd get a chance to see them play. So we'd go up to the Baptist College and watch the guys play football. And we kids, we were just running around having fun. That would last, I don't know, some 3, 4 hours. Then afterwards, we'd come home. It's time to get showered, freshen up, and freshen up for the day. And then after you've gotten showered and freshened up, eventually you all sit at the table. Being 10 of us, we sit around the table with mom and dad. Everybody's eyes was big, everything was smelling good and looking good, and every plate would be served. But I remember when the prayers was going on, my brother Melvin, he would start sneaking his hand up on the table, trying to take something during prayer time. And when those of you who had their eyes slightly open could see that. But then I realized that Mama also saw what was going on because she would snap him on the knuckles. Bam, bam, bam. And even during the prayer time, he said, "Oh, Mama, oh, Mama." And she said, "Boy, you better shut up." All this is during the first few minutes of having Thanksgiving dinner. So eventually Melvin stopped trying to steal because everybody had food that day. All right. And we would all begin to eat, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful meal. And on Thanksgiving, we were always encouraged to go back for more. And what I remember is people would eat and go to sleep. And I realize now, even as a grown woman, that that's what happens, that food, in fact, does put you to sleep. But I remember eating great food. My mother made the best sweet potato pie. She made the best greens, Lord have mercy. She also did candy yams. Her corn was always good. To this day, Queen Mother's favorite meal is, guess what? Greens and cornbread. You got it right. Greens and cornbread. So that's just one story of what happened in the King family house on a Thanksgiving morning. And as we go and honor our ancestors today, what I want to do in honor of them is I'm going to burn an incense and a sparkle, if it will light.
We love sparkles.
Okay, there it is.
Yes. So
We honor you. We
yes,
love you.
we
We
love
praise
you.
you. We
Yes.
thank God for you, mama, daddy, sister, brother, other ancestors in other countries around the world. We honor you this November as you have now made your final journey to heaven, or your final journey, as my husband would say, to your final ancestral home. Thank you for
Yes.
going there. Thank you for being there. God bless you. We love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. Peace and blessings. And so it is.
Definitely.
Okay. All right.
Ah, well,
Okay.
we've got
So that's we've just concluded. Okay, with our tributes to those we love, and a few of the things I'd like to say in reference to our tribute is this, and that is how that when you honor, when you give a tribute or honor to someone, it's like a homage. It's a homage to say we love you.
yes.
It's a homage to say we remember you. And so, what are some of the things that we can actually do to remember our loved ones? One, you can call out their name as we just did.
Hmm.
You can pour libation. You
Yes.
can tell a story as we also just did, where your ancestors are concerned. You can light a candle in their honor. You can bake a cake in their honor. You can go run. There's so
The
many things that we can do
balloons.
to honor our ancestors, even as we're here now. But talking about them, and sometimes we talk about them when we don't even plan to talk about them, but it's just that things that they do are so important that they mean a lot to us. We have one person coming into the studio. Let's see if we can add them in. I don't know if they're
He's in the
okay.
studio, but he has his camera off.
Okay, so Abdul, you need to turn on your camera. Abdul, you need to turn on your camera.
He may not
Okay,
be in a space where he's got good reception.
I know. So that's why we accept him whenever he pops in.
Gotcha.
I'm getting a message from Rakaya saying she can't use the link. And so I've sent it to her, and I'll be willing to send it again. But before we go there, so all of the guests we're expecting in the studio today, none of them have actually shown up. So we're just going to continue with the program. And when they do show up, we'll bring them into the program at the point that they show up into the program. But I just want to go back for one moment and talk about other ways how we can honor people we love. You can bake a cake in their honor. I've even heard people say that they take their ashes and they mix them with some other material and make jewelry. How about that? So now I don't know if I'm going to be playing around like that, but for those of you who want to play that way, then it is possible. It is absolutely possible to do that. Okay, we're getting a message from Adbul. She's saying today he's having network problems as he's in the field, and he will try again. So
Okay.
we'll come back to him. So one of the main things that we want to speak about at this time on the Queen Mother Speak show is the floods that's happening around the world. Listen, whether you believe revelations or not, a lot of what it is talked about is now finding its way to happen on earth. There are so very many areas right now that are experiencing heavy rains, severe rains, and even flooding, with one of those areas, of course, being in Ghana. But let me just say that as I read in the news right here in Kenya, that there's flooding in the Mombasa area. I read that there's severe flooding also in Japan. I've read that there is severe flooding also in some areas in America. Heavy rains. And the areas that are not heavy rains are areas that are just having a few of them have hailstorms. So the world is changing, whether you want to believe it or accept it or not. The world is changing. And we, of course, are experiencing change in the Volta region of Ghana, as you well know, or if you don't know, Queen Mother was actually installed in the Volta region in the year 2007 during Ghana's 50th year of independence. Okay, it's the year that, let's see if we can add our guests coming in. Okay, there we are. And so what we have to say to that guest is welcome to the Queen Mother Speak show, Dave. And you'll need to do something so we can see your face because it's very dark. The reason why
He
we come
needs
in
a
a little
light in
early.
front of him.
Yeah.
He's got to
Is it
face the
possible
light.
to have a light in front, Dave? And his microphone is
There
also
we go.
off. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So he'll be coming back in, but we just want to keep you updated. What we have on show today for you is, in fact, the governor of the Volta region, the minister. We are expecting him in studio. I know he has a very, very heavy schedule. Let's see if Dave has any information on the governor. Hello, Dave. How are you?
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. As
Hello.
far as I know, he's been very busy in Volta. There has been some meetings he's been attending. I'm optimistic that he will join us. I don't know at what time, but he's been quite busy.
Okay. So
Yes.
what Dave is telling us is that we may or may not get the governor today. If we don't, it's okay. We will pre-record him, Dave, whenever he is ready.
Yes.
We can pre-record him. So
Yes.
if it's not easy for him to make 2 o'clock on a Wednesday, Queen Mother understands because we know that
That's
they're
right.
still in a crisis and in an emergency. So at any point
Yes.
that he's ready, we can pre-record him and bring him on.
Yes.
But it's interesting when I posted that the governor was going to be on the show today, I've gotten a lot of comments. So people's got
Yes.
questions they really do want to ask him.
Yeah.
So we
Yes.
certainly do hope that he will be on the show hopefully by
Yes.
next week. Let me tell you a little bit about Dave. Okay, he's with he's the chairman of the Trade Africa Consulting Group. He is the CEO of Golf Options Kenya Limited, and he's been involved in the golfing industry since the 1980s. Dave is also equally involved in construction and real estate management. He's also served as chairman of the Ghanaian Association right here in Kenya, and he's also a part of the Mathiga Golf Club. Okay, he just has a lot of experience in time management, and today he's going to talk to us a little bit about the Ghanaian Association in Ghana. But being a man from Ghana and a man from the Volta region, he's going to tell us what he's hearing. I know one picture I sent Dave. He wrote me back and he said, "Oh my God, Queen Mother, that's my area. That's my area." Dave, thank you today for being on the Queen Mother Speak Show.
Thank you very much. Um, uh, I'm grateful as I was last time to be on your show, and
All right.
well, it is um, it is sad to see what is happening in the Volta region. It is really sad. That
Mm,
the area it's happening really is where my mother comes from as well. I've
mhm,
lived most of my life in Kenya, but
mhm,
I mean, our homeland is our homeland,
mhm,
and I've never seen such a catastrophe
mhm,
in Ghana. That about 55,000 people who are homeless, which
mhm,
is terrible. And your initiative to try and uh, help uh, the victims is it's really applaudable, plausible.
mhm,
It's something that should happen, given that the government is not doing much. It's up to us to do something. So your initiative to get us all together to
mhm,
try and come up with some solutions in
mhm,
trying to stabilize the homeless people is quite something. I think it is the greatest thing that has happened, and we all pray that it succeeds and we get the homeless people the needed assistance that they need. Their needs are paramount. Otherwise, we'll start having sick people and people losing their lives, and all their elderly people there, their children, their
mhm,
single mothers. There's everybody there that needs assistance. They're really destitute. Yeah.
mhm, mhm.
So I'm with you, and we will work together to find those much needed solutions. On the side
Definitely.
of the Ghanaian community, um,
Mhm,
Kenya attained its independence in 1964, while Ghana attained its independence in 1957. Um, so I think Ghana was the second country in Kenya after independence to open an embassy, and this was largely after the British government, and this is largely due to the fact that Kenya and Ghana played a very, very important role. 1963, sorry, not 1964. Played a very important role in getting an Africa independent.
mhm,
The Pan Africanist movement was started by Dr. Ras Makonnen, Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, and so many others. So
mhm,
um, the community has had judges serving in Kenya. It had a wide range of people in the United Nations and many other organizations. So we have a large community in Kenya, and
mhm,
of professionals of diverse disciplines, and
mhm,
we do have a robust one, and they are also interested in what is happening in their homeland.
Yes.
And this is why we formed an association. And this association actually was formed quite a long time ago.
Hmm.
A long time ago, because there was a time the Ghana embassy was closed in Kenya. There was no embassy for a few years. That's why the community issues started. I think they reopened the embassy in about 12 years ago,
Hmm.
and we've got everybody back together, and we have a very nice community, and we're all together. We're close knit, and where there is a need to do something, they get together and do something.
Hmm.
Very good. Dave, excuse me. I see Abdul is coming in. He's going in
Yeah,
and out. So the next time that we can get Abdul in, we want to bring him
yeah,
in because he's in the Volta region and their internet connection is very unstable. So
Yeah.
he just,
yes, it is.
yeah, we just lost him. So the next time that we can bring him in, we want to
Yes,
try to connect him right away because he's been
that
going
would be
in
good.
and out. So I didn't want
Yes,
to interrupt, but I saw that he was trying to come in again, and that
Hmm.
yes,
internet connection from the flood area is very unstable.
it is. We're also
Yes.
having some problems in Nairobi. Yeah,
True.
we,
Listen, I'm in America and we have had problems too because sometimes
yeah.
Mm.
I'm not able to get on to be a co host.
Wow.
But at
Yes.
this time, I did want to go ahead and give an update because this week's violence in Gaza and in Israel, and not to mention the Ukraine, is still going on. And
Oh.
after
Yeah.
a week of raising Israeli and Palestinian tension in the east of Jerusalem, which culminated in clashes at the holy site, revered by both Muslims, Jews, and Christians, I was trying to bring you an update that we need to be praying for people because not only is there flooding, but there's wars. And there are many refugees around the world that have had to flee their homes and they need help also. And many people know former
Okay,
president.
he's back in, Nana.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get him on
Hello,
in.
Abdul.
Yeah, hello. Sorry about that. That is my network here. I'm in a field and my network is not really permitting me to have a very good.
Understand.
But I did my best right now. If you can see, I'm on a tree right now, trying to get a stable network so that we could have a fruitful discussion. Because where I am, if I get down and get to any area and I on my data, try to on my video, you see that my video may
Freeze. Yeah. His video just froze.
I
Yeah.
think it's always a lot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We can hear you.
What is the latest update you have for us on the Volta region or any region for that matter in Ghana?
Hello.
Yes, we're
Yes.
here.
What's the update on what's happening in Ghana? Whether it's Volta or anywhere in Ghana with the floods, has it reached other areas?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
He's frozen, but I can tell you until he comes back that yes, in Takardi, it is also flooded, and over in the area of Man Kasim, it's raining. You know,
Ah,
as
what can
the
you tell
rains
us about Man
continue.
Kasim, Nana?
How? Well,
What can you
Man
tell us
Kasim
about
is my
Man
traditional
Kasim?
area, where I'm a queen mother, and they also have had flooding in Man Kasim. David, welcome back. Abdul's camera is currently frozen. I'm not sure if he can hear us, but Abdul, whenever you're speaking, we can hear you even when your video is flooding. And I don't know if you all heard him well, but he had to climb a tree to bring us this update. If I'm at
Did you
home
guys
in
get
rural
that?
South Carolina, I have the same issue trying to find the internet signal. I have to run around and hold the phone up. So I definitely understand. But
Mhm.
FEMA in here in the United States has been assisting flood victims. And as you all know, the Red Cross is worldwide. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to tell you how to become a volunteer, because as Queen Mother said, we're getting people to ask us saying, my area is flooded, my area has disasters. What can you do to help? What you can do to help is become a Red Cross volunteer or FEMA. You kindly reach out to the regional managers or district organizers who will guide you through the registration process. Upon registration, you'll be required to sign a volunteer's code of conduct, which outlines the ethical standards of the organization. There are other organizations assisting churches, schools, government agencies, community groups. Whatever you do, get involved. The important thing is to do something. And what happens is a lot of areas say, well, we need Red Cross supplies. We need this, we need that. I can tell you from experience um, in with the hurricanes in South Carolina that some of the most affluent areas had volunteers who had already been set up, who had already been trained. Abdul is back. Can you hear us? Go ahead, Abdul.
Yes,
We can hear
good
you
day.
even though
Can
you're
you hear me?
there you
Can
go.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you. Go ahead. We can hear you even when your camera is frozen. We
Hello?
can hear you. Go ahead. We can hear you. As you all can see,
Hello?
he's got, yes, we can hear you. Go ahead and talk to us. Your signal is strong probably when you have your camera off. So go ahead, Abdul. Well, we can tell you he is dedicated, and the Red Cross now has tents on the ground in Ghana, in the Volta region, and also they went to Takardi, which had also flooded, and to Mankasim. But there are not enough volunteers. They can only send the supplies if you have a place to store them, people to receive them, people to distribute them. To send a
Right.
whole lot of supplies in and not
Mm-hmm.
have anybody to distribute them, or if they have to worry about them being stolen or sold or just kept by people who are
Mm-hmm.
unscrupulous volunteers or people who are there on the ground but want to take the supplies for their personal families or their personal use, they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to send them. I can tell you that now. And it is important for you to have a plan before it rains, a plan
That's right.
before the hurricanes. And in our area, the minority population did not sign up, get training, or become Red Cross volunteers. They didn't have any place to put the beds, any place to store it. So the minority community in South Carolina was being bused 2 hours away from their homes when less than 15 minutes, one of the white gated communities had trained volunteers, had a gymnasium with over 150 beds in there.
Mm-hmm.
They had refrigeration, they had food supplies, they had toiletries to distribute, and those people did not have to leave their home. So you can imagine how upset I was, because we had huge school facilities that had showers, that had locker rooms, that had the gymnasium where the beds could have been put up, but the Red Cross explained to me over and over again, and so that I understood that you had to be
Mm-hmm.
pre-registered, you had to be trained, those facilities had to be available, and that code of conduct signed ahead of time before
Mm-hmm.
the disaster. So
You know,
right,
let's talk about that for a minute.
okay,
Becoming a volunteer. You
right,
never know when
right,
a disaster is going to strike
no,
anywhere. And
right,
so it's just a good thing to go ahead and get yourself signed up to be a
mm-hmm,
volunteer and learn how to be a
yes,
volunteer. It's
right,
not just signing a piece of paper and saying,
mm-mm,
here I am. You
right,
go through training to know how to do these things. Okay. Yeah, you go through
yeah,
trainings to learn how to handle yourself inside of being a volunteer. Now, I know sometimes at church they have an event and we show up and they'll give us an assignment. Slightly different with the Red Cross. Because usually when you're volunteering to show up, it's to some disaster or to some situation that is occurring. So you need to be trained on how to deal in those situations for your safety as well as the safety of other people. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to take a moment and go into how you can help Queen Mother Speaks Red Cross. Red Cross Queen Mother Speaks Fund. We have right now two ways where you can make a donation. One is through PayPal. And Nana's gonna, let's see, I believe we have that information here to post.
Queen Mother, what I was doing, some of our viewers said they're having trouble connecting. So I just posted the YouTube link for them. They're in the United States. Let's see here. They're in the United States, but here's the link. And what I'm going to do is retype it so that it's better. Okay. There we go. So people are saying they appreciate the work that Queen Mother de Nuno has done to help get the Red Cross in the area, boots on the ground. But keep in mind, the roads have been destroyed. Their infrastructure in some places is not in place. And that's a challenge because how are they going to get supplies to you? They have boats. You know, some people have boats. So those people are using their boats and volunteering to get people to higher ground, to dry ground. But they had to have gas in those boats. They had to have, supplies, equipment. And then people are fearful when water rises. So you can be in danger yourself when you decide to assist people in flood areas. So they need people to volunteer, to get training. They have to keep the equipment ready and in repair. They have to know where they're going to go. They have to have maps of the area. You got to know how to read the maps. You got to know where do people live and what are the compromised neighborhoods. They already know that some neighborhoods are flood prone. So it looks like Adbul is trying to come back in the Volta region. He's with the Red Cross and he's on the ground. He was our guest last Wednesday. So while he's trying to come in, Queen Mother, let me go ahead and give a quick update on who he is.
Okay.
And stop me whenever he comes in.
Will do.
Adbul Razak, a self-motivated young person, diligent and hardworking with good interpersonal and communication skills, conforms to rules and regulations, are ready to always be ready to face new challenging tasks. The climate is changing, and he's an enthusiast and a humanitarian volunteer. Adbul is the Ghana Red Cross Society National Youth President and has contributed greatly to the disaster response issues, youth advocacy, and humanitarian service in Ghana. And he's been our contact there in the Volta region. And as you all can see, not only is he there in the Volta region, he's in a tree in the Volta region so that he can try to bring us a report and update so that you all will know the challenges that they're facing. So we want to make sure to tell you how to donate.
Yes.
There's Queen Mother Speaks Fund that has been set up by the Red Cross, and we have several different ways. Today, we're going to discuss two of them. One is through our PayPal donations. And if you have PayPal, let me go get one other slide. I'm going to get this one. There we go. Because it's kind of complicated when you see it like this. but we'll put it on our Facebook pages, on
Yes,
Instagram.
and we can literally, we have time to go through it because this is one of the important points
Very
of the
important.
show today, how you can make a difference in the Volta region.
I'm going to leave it up for a minute as I take you through it. So donations
Okay.
via PayPal. You first have to have a PayPal account, and they're very easy to sign up. You just need your name, your phone number, and your email.
Email. Mhm.
Yes. So you click on the Red Cross Queen Mother Fund PayPal link, and we have the link for you here on the screen, and then you click send. As I said before, you have to first sign up if you don't have a PayPal account. Enter the amount that you'd like to donate. Adding a note is optional. You could say for flood relief in Ghana, you could say for flood relief in Kenya, and click continue. If available, choose sending to a friend or paying for an item or service. Then number 4, choose your payment method and click next. Review all the details to see that you've got it set up correctly, the amounts you want. Yes, we would like $5,000, but if you meant to send $5, make sure you got the decimal point in the correct place, and then go ahead and click send payment now. So we've all done something that you get ready to click that button, you go, oops, you see that mistake right as you have it up there, because that's what happened as I got ready to show that last slide. I had a typo in there. So the other way to donate is here via bank account. There you go. And it's the Access Bank. Here's the account number, 0410117119 Let me repeat that number.
Mhm.
It is 0410117119 just in case you don't have your glasses on and the numbers were running together. So the name of the account is Ghana Red Cross, PEC. Again, that's the Ghana Red Cross PEC account. The bank name is Access Bank. And that
ACCESS,
right,
Access Bank.
Access Bank, ACCESS. And the routing number is 281001. I'll repeat that again, 281001. So we're working on the GoFundMe account, getting it set up. And the Red Cross has been, I've heard that they've been accused of a lot of things, and one was high administration fees. So let me say right now that when Adbul came on the show last week, 100% of your donations go to the flood victim. And we are
Yes.
pleased to announce, and Queen Mother's going to tell you a little more about it, but they're
Mhm.
putting vouchers in the hands of the flood victims. So you have to get in touch. And we had the phone numbers up last week. Adbul gave us to get in touch with the Red Cross, because many of you out there have moved out of the flood area, moved with friends, moved in with
Mhm.
family, or done whatever you had to do to get shelter over your head. For the people that are still there, they actually have put up tents. And I had those photos on my Facebook page this morning, and they're providing temporary shelter. And the Red Cross is going to be in the Volta region and some of the other flooded regions in Ghana until February. Because when you have a flood and the water goes down, that's not the end of it. Many people, over 40,000, 50,000, I'm sorry, 50,000 people, 55,000 people was, I think, our latest
Right.
count, Mother, have lost
Yes.
everything. The flooding was up to the rooftops, and they
Mhm.
lost everything. They left with
Everything.
the clothes they had on their back
Yes.
whenever they were able to be extracted. So
Yes.
they're in need of everything, but it's
And
always
you,
important to keep in mind. Go ahead, Queen
yeah,
Mother.
and another area we're not going to address today, but we
Mm-hmm.
will address it when we have Coach Ra in the house, is
Okay,
the emotional and mental state of the people in the flood.
definitely.
In fact, we're even asking some of the youth in the Volta region to write us a story and tell
Mm-hmm.
us what the impact of the flood has been like for them and their lives.
For
Next
sure.
week, we hope to bring in some school teachers who can
Mm-hmm.
talk about how it has affected the educational system, okay, in the area. And we'll get school teachers from different parts, hopefully, of the Volta region to talk about the level of devastation they may or may not have received. Some buildings, some homes were not underwater,
Right.
but quite a few were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And for the buildings where the water was only like maybe 1/3 or 1/4, those buildings still have been affected and still have to be dealt with. Now let's talk about the other part that's really amazing is the fact that roads have been washed away.
Yes.
So that means, you know, it's mind blowing, literally, to think about the devastation and what it means. It's like me, recently where I live, we have an outer gate on the street. And then when you come to your individual home, you have another gate, right? So
Right.
they just recently put the lock on the outer gate. And many times when I'm going to throw away the trash, I forget to take that extra key because I'm used to just coming and going and coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'll get all the way out there and right at the door and realize I can't go out because what? I didn't have the key.
Right.
So I have to come all the way back to get the key.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is true when you're living in a situation where all of a sudden everything is gone. It hasn't really stuck yet. It hasn't really gone through yet that it is what it is.
That's right.
And even as I continue to get messages from those living in the Volta region, it feels so horrible. It's like,
Yeah.
what can you do? What can you do? So what we're doing is what we feel we can do,
Yeah.
what Spirit has put in our heart to do. So
Mm-hmm.
we're coming after you to say, help us, because
Right.
we are in a situation that's definitely out of our control. Really a situation that's totally out of our control. So we will be bringing you information on how the floods have affected children, how it has affected those in the educational arena, school teachers. We
Yeah.
want to hear from the church, some of the pastors. And of course, we'll also want to hear from some of the business people and how it's affecting their business or what have they started doing now. It was about mid-October, okay, about mid-October when this flooding happened in the Volta region. So we're almost approaching a month. Now it was raining before then, but the floods started around mid-October. So we're already past mid-November. So we're way beyond a month worth of this devastation. And we know that Red Cross is reaching out to get to as many people as they can. But again, Red Cross needs you.
Definitely.
We need you. So will you consider signing up and learning to become a volunteer? And in the meantime, would you also then consider making some donations because they're going to need that as well. Okay, they're going to need that as well. Dave's back in. I see a comment here. Let's put that on the board. This is the Honorable Paul Theodore, Assembly member who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and we are going to have him back. All right. And he is saying, he's telling us where he's from. Honorable Paul, can you give us an update? Will you write in the comments an update on what's happening in the Volta right now? We'd like to know what's happening right now. Okay, and here, thank you, Lady Mo. We were planning to have her on the show today, but for whatever reason, she couldn't get in through the link. We can always try it again and again and again. Okay? All right. We will now go to some of our announcements. And one of the announcements, as we want to make, is to tell you something about what's happening here in Kenya. First, I want to speak to the fact that last week and earlier this week, Queen Mother had traveled to an area called Kitale, Kitale. Kitale is known as the breadbasket of Kenya. Why? Because in that one county alone, just that one county, they grow maize, avocado, coffee, tea, macadamia nuts. What else? I'm just in that one county alone, they have more food items. So it has been properly nicknamed the bread basket of Kenya. And Kitale is working on increasing its trade and tourism. So Queen Mother was invited up as a part of it to see what was happening in the Kitale area, but also to invite you by next year to come and be a part of that trade and tourism expo. But we learned a lot. It was a great place. Nana, what I can say to you about being in the Volta, I'm sorry, what I can say to you about being in Kitale, it felt like I had known all those people for a very long time. All right, and here she is. Coach Rakaya has made it into the studio. Hello, sweetheart. How are you? How are you? Unmute. Unmute.
Good evening, family and friends. It has taken me an entire hour to get into this situation. The link on the phone, for whatever reason, is sending us to something else and is not getting us to where we need to be. Finally, I got the code to work and I am on here. Thank you. And I pray that everyone just be faithful, be patient. Kind of difficult in the situation that you may find yourself in at the moment. But like Queen Nana said, try to make connection with the Red Cross, send a note, send it to one person to the other person. See, this is why we need to get them drums back into the action. Drumming was the first communicator. We would need Wi-Fi. Nevertheless, in the situation that we now find ourselves, everybody's in something. You have to breathe, and you have to have faith and hope that everything will work itself out, and that what you've lost will be multiplied tenfold. That's a promise. That's a promise. Stay in your word. Create groups. Talk about it. I don't know if you can write about it because I don't know if anything is
Why are
left to
you
be
saying
written on.
after every word? Rob, why are you saying Why are you saying after every word?
Oh,
I just
I'm
wanted
not
to
even
make you
aware.
aware of that. Yeah.
Oh,
Sometimes
no.
when you're aware of it, you can stop it.
Okay. So therefore, I am. Kindly pray, stick together, talk about it, and work as a collective and a cooperative. You have to work as a team. There is not no I. This is a we situation. Back to you, Queen.
Thank you very much. And what I want to say is she did let me know that for some reason the link wasn't working today. I had several people to say it wasn't working, but they kept working with it, and somehow it did its own magic and came through. Thank you for being here today, Rob. And we mentioned earlier in the show that we want to talk about into the future the emotional and the mental state of many of the people who've been caught up in the flood zone. And we didn't want to talk about that today because that's an area I know that you will bring to us. All right. The mental state and the emotional states of people
Yeah,
when
it's
they've been
very,
caught up in
it's a
disaster.
very traumatic. very traumatic situation, and what we'll talk about is how to talk about it and not keep it in, and how to process the trauma. That is very critical.
Okay.
Mental health matters, and a lot of us have a tendency of holding into things and not trying to talk to someone. Or this is where the pastors will come in. This is where the educators will come in, where they're even traumatized because now they don't have any schools in which to teach. So
Yeah.
it's just going to be what will be good is to get some of the people from Katrina to come on and share what they and no one has never given them a platform to really talk about what happened. I mean, families were displaced. Families are still displaced.
Yeah.
Somewhere in Georgia, somewhere in Texas. They never got back to the point in which they were, which is New Orleans. And even though when you go to New Orleans today, there are boarded up houses and houses that have
Mhm.
nothing has been done to it. It's like it happened yesterday. Yes.
We still have those
I
X's
was in
on
New Orleans this summer, so I'm not saying something that I'm not talk that I don't know what I'm talking about. But
Okay.
I was stunned to see all these houses boarded up, and nothing has been done. And perhaps some of the families, it belongs to some of the families that left,
them. They do.
and just and they just don't want to come back to those type of memories,
Yeah.
because remember the water also went to the roof. Some people were on the roof and the water was still coming up.
Oh
Remember?
yeah.
I remember those
Yeah.
horrific pictures.
So
Um,
Coach Ron, would you consider taking a look at Katrina 5 years after the fact, 10 years after the fact, and just give us a 5 minute update on Katrina as it happened years and years ago? But she mentioned something that has been sort of lingering around my mind. None, I'm going to mention it now and here on the air. But one of the things that's coming to mind for me is I'd like to work with existing organizations and pull together a team of 500 people who will be going up to the Volta region to help out in various areas. We know we've got construction, we know we've got education, we know we've got health, right? It's just everything has to be redone. So what's been lingering in my mind is just pulling together a troop through an existing organization. I'm not trying to create an organization to do this. We want to use an existing organization that could focus on sending, and I'm saying 500. That's the number that came for me to that area at one time, whether they've got a 6 month contract, a 1 year, or a 2 year contract to be in the Volta, to have things, to build the place back up again. That's
Yeah.
been lingering on my mind. What do you think about that, Nana?
I think it's a great idea, but again, there's no place for 500 people to stay because the people of the Volta region are intense. So there's going to have to be a really big effort in terms of providing housing and transportation, which is not a vehicle because the roads are destroyed. Sometimes
Well,
the
but
airships
there's
have been
a few things to
compromised.
know. There,
So,
there are a few things to know. The water
so
level has gone down. Volta region is very big. Not every house is underwater. I've received some pictures of schools where it's like maybe the water is covering your feet, but the top part of the building is okay, but the lower part is not, which means structurally something's going to have to happen there. So
the main thing is, you know what? Often people say, "Can you get us computers? Do you have a roof? Do you have walls that will keep out the rain and the weather and elements?" And many times that answer is no.
so some of the initial things that have to
Structurally,
happen
something's going to have to
is going to
happen
be
there.
some assessments.
So the main thing is, you know what? Often people say,
Yeah, we're going to need some assessments, trainers to go in there first to assess the various levels of things. But Queen Mother would be very pleased if we all somehow wound up in Ghana next year working in the areas of our expertise in that country. So that's what's on my mind and my heart. Now, Coach Ron, I don't know if you heard any of that, but I was saying what's been lingering in my mind. You heard it?
Yes,
So
I
then I
heard.
want to.
I got cut off when you said that I needed to look into what has happened to the post Katrina, to do an
Yeah, give us a.
evaluation of
So
the
I want you
post
to look.
Katrina
Give us a
situation.
report
And
into the coming weeks on post Katrina.
and I like the idea of us going to the Volta next year. I like the idea that perhaps we can, those trailers. They have those man-made trailers that you can put up to give temporary housing. Maybe we can get some people to volunteer some of those housing for the people that are going to help out. You know what I'm
Yeah. So what
saying?
we're gonna do is we're
Let
gonna
me
rely
explain something.
on initially the professionals to go in and do what they call an assessment, so we can see the levels of what. So us coming in to help is down the road. First, I got to do a lot of assessments and then figure out.
Yeah.
Once they figured out what's gonna happen, then how can we support that, and how will that happen? How do we be there and at the same time be of assistance? For example, every African country I've gone to, they've always provided housing and food. Okay, so given the devastation, we have to see what. I can say that I've worked in refugee camps before, and it was a lot of rain. We weren't flooded, but it was a lot of rain, and we had to shift the places where we were to work as the workers. Right, it was a medical camp, and they were coming in and you're giving vaccines and things like that. And my role was to work with the children and the women. So we was just singing and having fun all day and stuff like that. But it was not the flooded type thing. So we do know that there are organizations who know what to do and get the assessments done, and then we'll see where to from there. But if you are feeling the same way the Queen Mother is feeling, drop us a line so we'll know how many people would even be willing. And I'm saying 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, okay, of being abroad. And we know programs that do that. I've been on 2-year programs, I've been on 5-year programs, right? So that's something we could look at into the future. Another way we could have, because I know a lot of people who want to visit Africa. How about visiting Africa and being a help at the same time by bringing your skill set? How does that feel to you? We've
It's
reached
great.
the hour. We just want to take a moment to thank all of you who've tuned in to the Queen Mother Speak Show. Once again, we want to thank Lady Mo out of Atlanta, Georgia, who's actually made a contribution to the Red Cross Queen Mother Fund, and
Thank
others that
you.
will be announcing and sending out our thank you to you. Um, we're gonna right now. I want to say to my co-hosts anything they want to say before we end with love.
I want to say thank you for tuning in today. Volunteer in your community. Consider volunteering and understand that when you volunteer, yes, we need able bodied people. Yes, we need your expertise, even if you're not able bodied. But make sure when you go into a flood prone area that you've got your shots in place, that you understand the surrounding areas, because not only did the people get flooded, the animals, the snakes, and everything else that was on the ground got flooded too. And they are with you in the water. So don't come in high heels. Don't expect to wear your pearls, girl. You may wear your pearls under your khakis if you like. But a reality check is you need to work out. You need to bring your vitamins and take your vitamins, because with floods come a lot of disease, come wild animals that are displaced, come prisoners that are displaced, right? Come the sick, the hospitals who've been displaced. So they definitely need everything. They need skilled people, but a moment of reality check. If there are no roads, be prepared to walk in the mud. barefoot. Bring your boots, right?
Yep.
I,
Cute is
I want
okay.
I want
Cute
to
is
say
okay.
I want to
And
say
they
that
call them gum boots. Those thick plastic
That's right.
boots. They call them gum boots. And I don't know one African household that doesn't have them.
But you need to make sure that a snake can bite your boot and it's not coming through to you. I'm just trying to be honest. People are well intended, right? When I've had disabilities, I found ways to volunteer online, organizing, getting donations. But you can get all the donations dropped off in a floodplain that you want. But if you don't have a boat, you can't get them from point A to point B, right? Yes, they
Right?
can bring the trailers out, but you cannot pull that trailer where you want it, uh, Coach Rakaya, without a truck, without a road. Those trailers will be just sitting someplace because the three of us cannot pull them. Okay? So you got to have an organizer to go step
okay.
A, fix the roads. Step B, get a truck. Step
Hey,
C, then get
yo,
the trailers. You can get the trailers out of their order, their proper
listen.
order, and the trailers will be sitting somewhere at. First of all, you got to fabricate the trailers, Rakaya. If they don't make trailers in Ghana, right? You got to transport them from another country. So check and see
Okay.
if those trailers, if it's more like a tent, we could definitely get you a tent and blow up air
On a
mattress,
serious
right?
note,
I'm being
on a
serious.
serious note, on a
Hmm.
serious note, I am used to camping out. However, I cannot say that I am used to any environment that has been flooded and has all the other situations that comes along with it,
Correct.
particularly. So what I would say in terms of that is one would have to power up the immune system. One would have to ensure that they're taking their vitamins, like you say, make sure there's certain vaccines that you must have before you go to Ghana. Anyhow, I knew I had to take it, and then you had to make sure that you take your diarrhea pill. So I know all about that. But what I want to take this moment to do is to really give a shout out to all the caregivers in the world.
Yeah.
Most importantly, I need the caregivers to hear me. Yes, we are trying to help the infirm and the sick. However, do not lose yourself within that situation. You must be able and willing to step aside and also take care of yourself. I repeat, self-care is one of the most critical, important elements in life. Self-preservation is the law. And yes, however, we want to help those who are sick, but you must also be willing to ensure that you are taking care of yourself. And remember that the experiences that they are experiencing are the experiences that they ask. Because a lot of these diseases, I'm sorry to say, and it may sound real cold, a lot of the diseases presently, right now, 2023, are preventable
They
diseases.
are. They are.
And
Hmm.
it's based upon lifestyle. You have to be willing to do the work to get the results. And this is why I have been on here for the last 2-3 years on Herbalist Educator, posting and posting, nights unending, not sleeping, because some of us, most of us, are not listening.